Hello everyone, this is Mike Check 95 here with an exclusive interview with Harvey Beardman and...
Yeah, it's Taurus now.
Oh, it's Taurus now.
It's Taurus now.
First off, Harvey Beardman, the big question is, where were you on Judgment Day?
Well there, Mike Check, I just gotta say, after my crushing defeat at the hands of Regulator and Jason Anderson at, what was the show?
It's Downfall.
RDW's Downfall pay-per-view. I was overcome with a surprising amount of rage for someone of my emotional stability and character. And so I went on a pilgrimage of sorts. I realized I was scheduled for a match, but I think there's nothing stronger than inner peace, which should come first in everyone's mental lifestyle. So I took some time to get off of that, and I no-showed, I'll admit it. But I'm back, I'm feeling refreshed, and I'm ready to kick some rear end.
I was going to say like a simple text or phone call to anybody in the league would have been okay, but since you were like, I'm on a pilgrimage, so I'm still doing that.
Yes, you know, at places where they take pilgrims, such as myself.
To go clear your head.
Yes, they don't allow, they have no Wi-Fi. And up in those, you know, those hills, there's no cell phone service to be had. So...
There's no cell phone service on the Mayflower? You're a pilgrim?
No, sir.
No service on Mayflower?
No, sir.
You'd expect more.
Only flowers.
And maize. So, anyways, before we get off track, both of you, what are your thoughts on the aftermath of the impromptu match we had between the Regulator and the outsider who is now known as Taurus? Start with you, Beardman. Because I know you watched it.
I did watch it. Coming into it, I think the outsider was full of fire, and I admire that in a man, let me tell you. I think he had a lot going in. I think if he would have, he just made a wrong move. I've done the same thing with Regulator before. You give him one weakness to exploit, yes, thank you. He'll take advantage of it real quick. Being as this was Outsider's first match, I wouldn't have recommended that you go against Regulator. But, you know what, it is what it is, and, you know, I would like to see you in the ring again someday.
So where do you stand on the aftermath of that?
I currently believe that, I think I did well for my experience and my readiness. I will admit I barely had any experience, but I think I came out on top in my own way, just to be honest. And I will agree with Mr. Beardman. I should not have gone against the Regulator for my first match. Of course, though, we were limited on the contenders, and I was like, yo, I want to wrestle. So I wrestled against him, and I think, I don't know, it just added on to better myself, and maybe someday I might return to the ring. I might go against another novice, so that way I'm at least on equal ground, but who knows?
Sounds like a good plan to me, Taurus.
I hope so.
I mean, the outcome was if Beardman were to show up, you were going to face him for the championship, but since he didn't show up, and Regulator's opponent, PX90, didn't wrestle because of, I really don't know why, but I mean, it's just the way it happened. It was kind of disappointing, because you could have gone for the belt, but you know, stuff happens and time flies.
I'm honestly fine with it now. I think it's past me, and I'm ready just to better myself, get myself ready in case another match comes along.
So now that you're pulling away from the ring in RDW, I've noticed you still want to help out with the league. So where do you stand now in the league?
I have made myself available as a commentator in the background. I will be fully now going on as Taurus, the commentator, and I will try to make myself available for matches. And I just want to watch from the sidelines, see how things go down, maybe learn from the sidelines too.
That's one way of doing it. That's how a lot of superstars I know do it, but I mean, some like the hands-on kind of learning ability. So, before we get on to the big announcement for main event, we have a couple of people who are returning/arriving. First off, let's talk about the returnee known as Krieger Margin. Now, we all know he's talked about returning here and there, and he ends up not showing up. going back to last year with, I think it was Survival, that he was supposed to wrestle Jason Anderson, who was Venom at the time, and he just kind of no-showed. So, do you really think he's going to return this time?
I believe he is returning when I see him walk into the ring.
Your thoughts?
Honestly, the same. If he appears, I'll be proud of him. But if he doesn't, I never expect anything better.
I mean, like, I'm more than welcome to bring him back into the league and all. I mean, we've had our differences here and there, but I've been talking to him. He said he's gonna come back, but like, I understand where you guys are coming from. But hopefully, he does arrive. Now, for the other one, some people say return, some people say arrival. The arrival of Brewmaster Swig's first night of 4. That is the most ridiculous name ever, but he picked it. Your thoughts?
I will go on to say that Brewmaster, as he's known, we trained together when we were younger, and I've got to say, he is quite the combat specialist. If not out of his own skill, but his sheer size, he is a dominant force, and I will be quivering in my own boots if he ever comes after my title. I pray to God that won't happen.
How about your thoughts, Taurus?
Personally, when I see that man, I shit myself. He is a tall monster. He's like the Godzilla of the ring. And just knowing that he's going to come into the ring, or carpet, and take on some people, I'm excited to see that. I'm ready to see the massacre.
So, rumor is spreading around about his arrival, what he's going to do at Main Event, that I heard he issued a challenge back in the locker room, and the first one to step up was the Regulator. Mm-hmm. Now, I am not sure about this, because I'm worried about that ring getting destroyed because of that, but what are your thoughts on the Regulator versus Brewmaster?
Well, to be quite honest, I mean, Regulator is quite the force himself. I've only managed to beat him, I think, once.
Yeah, once.
That was sheer luck, in my opinion. But these two masculine beasts going at each other in the ring, it may be quite the show. Then again, I mean, their size comes into factor. They're both large men. And so I do not expect a flashy match so much as a comparing of strength, as it were.
I mean, like, Brewmaster is like 8 inches taller and has 60 pounds on him, but that doesn't mean Regulator's no pushover.
I have witnessed both of their strengths, and I must say, I do believe Brewmaster does have a little bit of strength on Regulator, but a Regulator also has some inward skill in his brain, and I think that will play into his favor during the match.
Okay, so what do you think about that? Brewmaster versus Regulator?
I honestly think that both of them are, it's an equal match. And Brewmaster, he himself, he has a force. He has like the power, he has the weight of himself. But Regulator has like a carnal instinct. He just has like fury. And he can go ballistic in a second. I've witnessed this firsthand, and it hurts a lot. But honest, when I see them clash at each other in the ring, I feel like it's gonna turn into a sort of stalemate, to where one might come out on top, but you're never gonna guess who it is. So honestly, at this point, I have no idea.
Alright, it could go either way. Honestly, in my opinion, it could honestly be a quick match or a long match. You don't know until it actually happens. Now,
Indeed.
My last question for this interview, before I go on, I do some explaining. We were going to have a #1 contendership match a few weeks back for the RDW World Championship, but some people that were scheduled for the match ended up pulling out last minute because of other conflicting schedules, or they had personal issues going on, and it just came down to 2 people, and I really didn't want to do just a 2-people contendership match. So we were kind of at a standstill to figure out who would face Harvey Beardman. Now recently, one of the stars came up to me and wanted a title match, and he's not really one of the more active stars, but I figured, hey, why not see how it goes? So I figured that, maybe PX90 might deserve a shot because he's undefeated. He's won the Intercontinental belt, once known as the lightweight belt, twice. So now that knowing that PX90 is the contender for the World Championship, I'm going to ask Taurus first. What are your thoughts?
I honestly think that it's going to be a tough match. It's going to be a tough match, my friend. Because, of course, the Beardman here, he has the strength, and he has the willpower. And PX90, or P90X, whatever he is, I'm sorry, he's like a monkey. Honestly, he's lanky and moves really lightly. He's light on his feet, and so if he gets the upper hand on the Beardman, it's going to be a close call. So you just got to make sure you don't let that lankiness loose. You got to keep it contained.
Now the champion.
I must say, PX90, he's one of our better competitors, and if he shows up, I will grant him his request of a title match. Need someone to feed me.
Feed you.
Need someone to feed me, eh? So, I mean, he is faster, as you said. He might be stronger. I don't know. He is quite a cut young lad. But I think we both know who will come out on top. And so I guess with a closing remark, I only have one thing to say.
What's that?
PX90. Prepare to be shaved.